Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. It is July 21st, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. Time to get started. Hopefully you guys had an amazing weekend, but you are geared up and ready to go for another week. What do we want to talk about on Monday Mindsets? Just making sure my audio works if you see it, or if you're on, chat in if you can hear me. I always like to make sure, just because I've messed it up so many times. There we go. We are good to go. I want to talk to you guys today. I had the chance to teach at my church over the weekend. I go to a church called Next Community, but the church that I used to go to is Calvary Vision Church. And we since moved on for different reasons of kids ministry and stuff like that. But I got the chance to go back to Calvary Vision and teach there. Love the people there. There's just an amazing group of people. Was able to spend, 13 years or so of my life with them, living life. And I was teaching on 2 Timothy. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because, what I want to talk to you guys today about is this idea of what holds us back from being able to execute in our lives. Now, I was teaching on 2 Timothy. This is anybody who's a Christian and has read the Bible and stuff, you'll know that 2 Timothy is like Paul, the Apostle Paul, who's one of the main figures of the Bible, wrote most of the New Testament. He's writing his last letter. He's in prison in Rome. He's about to be beheaded, and he's writing his last letter to Timothy, who he considers, a son in the faith. That he is encouraging. Now, Paul's in prison, mind you, right? He's suffering. He's in prison. He's about to die, but he's writing to Timothy outside of prison saying, hey, Timothy, don't be ashamed. Don't be scared. And he talks about stirring up the fire, stirring up, fanning the flame, stirring up his faith that, hey, Timothy right now, he has, a fire going, but it's just the hot coals. And if any of you guys have been around a campfire before, when it gets down to just the ashes and hot coals, what do you have to do? You have to stir it up. You have to put more fuel on the fire. Maybe that's where you find yourself today in your, business life, right? Or in your personal life. It's not that you don't have a flame or a fire going, I should say. You have hot coals, but it needs to be stirred up, right? It needs to be, stirred up, mixed up, put fresh fuel on the fire so you can get that flame lit again. But here's my main point of sharing this is what was the main thing holding Timothy back from sharing more of his faith, from being used in his giftings? What was holding him back? Paul says it in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, which is, hey, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but he's given you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Meaning fear was what was holding him back. And I can't help but think that's a great message for all of us in business. It's an incredible message, and you can't really separate business and faith. It's an incredible message for people of faith, but it is really, really important in business that, hey, the main thing that holds you back is fear. And I love what Zig Ziglar says about fear. Zig Ziglar gives the acronym of fear and says it's false evidence appearing real. Fear is just false evidence, things you think are true that are not true, appearing real. And when you look at in the Bible in 2 Timothy, it talks about, the tools of being able to overcome fear. One of the tools is power from the Holy Spirit. The other is love. And when it talks about love, what I love about it is if you look at 1 John, it talks about, perfect love cast out fear. And that perfect love is really the love of Jesus. But the point of the passage is saying that the reason people fear is they fear consequence. They fear consequence. The reason why you have fear in your business, right? Fear of making the phone call is because you fear the consequence of the rejection. You fear the consequence of missing out on the opportunity and not getting the deal. You fear the consequence of that feeling of you're not good enough or you're wasting your time. You fear the consequence. In 1 John, it talks about, perfect love casts out fear, because fear is fearing punishment. Fear is fearing consequence. But in Jesus, because he's perfect and he steps in and he takes away that consequence. That's the whole point. And so I want to encourage you that you're fearing something that's not real. Especially when it comes to making your cold calls in business, especially when it comes to growing your business, like this fear of execution, this fear of failure, you're caring more about the approval and what others think about you, about the rejection and the consequence of potentially missing out on rewards you didn't even have in the first place, that you're letting that paralyze you and you're not executing. Like, why not make your phone calls? Why not try the idea that you need to try in your business? Why not push forward? And if you really self-reflect, there is no good reason. It's just fear. It's false evidence appearing real. It's this fear that what if I do it and it doesn't work and I waste money? What if I do it and it doesn't work and I miss the opportunity? What if I do it and it doesn't work and my peers think of me less than they do today and I miss out on that approval that I'm seeking from these people? This then comes back to what? Well, how do you overcome wanting the approval of other people? How do you overcome worrying about the missing out on the opportunity, about wasting your time and money, about the pain that might come from, spending money on this ad or leads, generating the leads, calling, not closing the deal, and now you've lost this money and you have to suffer the consequence of not having that money. How do you overcome that? You have to go back to your definition of success. You have to go back to your definition of why you're doing what you're doing. And if you really start to interview really top producing people, it's not that they don't have fear. I think it was Winston Churchill who said courage is not the absence of fear, but it's more moving forward in face of the fear. In spite of the fear, you just move forward anyways. If you really start talking to successful people, you'll start to realize that they've come to understand that because they've tasted some of the reward at this point, because they made the phone calls and it worked for them, because they tried the idea and it paid off and they didn't miss out on the opportunity, they got the reward, you'll start to hear from them that the reward, the money doesn't mean much. That's what you're going to hear. Everybody knows it. It's like, hey, you get to the other side, you win the Super Bowl, and what do the Super Bowl champions immediately start thinking about? The next Super Bowl. And then that's where the saying comes from. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that gets you even thinking deeper. Hey, what is success? What does success look like? And when you start pulling back the layers of the onion, guess what it does? It makes you realize that, hey, look, success is being able to wake up every single day and actually try to get better at my craft, whatever that craft is, enjoying that process of getting better, spending time with the people that I love, right? And doing things that I love to do. It really isn't the destination of the reward. Why is this important and why am I harping on it so passionately? Because once you understand that's the definition of success from a fulfillment standpoint and from a just overall quality of life, then it starts removing the fear because you go, I don't really care. If I get rejected, that's part of the journey. I'm enjoying the process of taking the shot in basketball and missing so I can take it again and maybe make it. And it makes the wins that much more enjoyable, right? It's like when you eat a piece of candy for the first time and you haven't had sugar in a while. It's amazing. But if you just eat a ton of Skittles or a ton of candy, doesn't it get like, ugh? As it's like it doesn't hit the same, right? And this applies to every truth in life. It's like the losing makes the winning that much better. And so I just want to encourage you this morning that if you find yourself where you have the fire, but your coals are just burning under the ash, and you need to stir up and fan that flame again in your life and in your business, know that the thing that is holding you back is fear, and fear is truly false evidence appearing to be real, and it's not. And so you've got to step forward. And I've always found that this is just me speaking because I'm preaching a little bit today, but this is just me speaking personally to myself, is I have always found out that the greatest way to overcome self-doubt, the greatest way to overcome fear is through action. And the hardest part about action, right, is it takes the most force to get something into momentum, right? When the rock is at rest, you have to put the most force into pushing the boulder to get it to move. But when it starts moving, something in motion, it's a lot easier to keep it in motion. And so what I would encourage you to do is that, hey, the hardest part to overcoming your doubt, your fear, your depression right now, whatever you're suffering from, discouragement, is you got to get into motion. You've got to just make the first call. And a lot of times, maybe the rock is too heavy to do alone. I think we're community people. You need to be in a community of people like the Insurance Syndicate, like these 8% conferences, right? You need to be around other people who are putting the effort to put their rock in motion so they can encourage you to get your rock moving. So I would just encourage you, start taking action. Get some action, even if you're failing 99 times out of 100. Get that action going, because you will find the key to business, as I've done Monday Mindsets on this before, is really act, track, pivot. Once you get into action, you can start tracking your results and you can pivot appropriately based upon the results versus sitting in paralysis mode. So don't have fear. Let's get out there and win. I want to actually encourage you guys to go attend a conference. Hey, that was a great segue. Let me pull it up. It's by my buddy Roy Snar. So hopefully you guys know Roy. I know he's been on here before, I think. He's putting on this Annuity Producers Conference. So if you check out annuityproducers.com, Roy is putting on an incredible conference. If you are an agent, health and life, Medicare, whatever it is, and you're looking to expand your business by getting into annuities, this is the conference to go to. Roy is a master at it. He trains all over the world on this stuff, does it himself. Not only that, if you are an annuity producer, you're going to learn from the top 1% in the annuity space how to grow your business. So annuityproducers.com, it looks like on his page, I just pulled it up, he has a promo code for 20% off right now. So SNAR20 for 20% off. I am going to be speaking at this conference. That's why it's on my mind. It's actually August 21st to 22nd. 22nd is my birthday. So I might be speaking on my birthday down in Texas at this conference. It is not very expensive at all, so go check it out. It is totally worth it. It's an August 21st, August 22nd conference. Really well done. It's done more like a mastermind than an actual conference, which I love that because I think there's going to be more interaction. It's smaller. I think there's going to be a couple hundred people there, maybe 300 people or so. I don't know. But it's going to be more like a mastermind, which is going to be awesome. Go check it out, annuityproducers.com. Get your ticket. It is at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock, Texas. I'm just reading this right now. So Round Rock, Texas, go check it out. And shout out to my man, Snar. Roy Snar is a beast when it comes to annuities. Guy's an awesome person as well. So get out there and win this week for you, for your family, for your friends, for your clients. Let's make it happen this week. No fear. False evidence appearing real. Get rid of it. Take action. Let's go make it happen, guys. See ya.